Scorpio, we're doing your September reading. We're gonna draw the tarot first. If you're not familiar with my videos, I don't have specific spreads. My readings are always different. I basically go with the cards that fall. I sometimes pull, but I also draw maybe less cards. I don't necessarily clarify. So if none of this appeals to you, you can exit the room. If not, you're welcome to stay. So let's look at your energies, or potentially some energies that could be showing themselves up for you this month. We have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, for starters. I'm not gonna start describing what I think this card means. I would like to do so in relation to something else. So let's wait and see. Please show us Scorpio's energy for September. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. Five of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Five of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups in reverse. Wow, well, the first three cards are they're harsh. You know, you have two fives. Sort of, how do you say? There's a word in French, very specific word. It's greffé. Greffé means when you, almost like you when you sew something onto something else. So like, I don't know, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're missing a finger. Just taking that example. You would put it back, and that operation, the fact that you sew it back, greffer means sort of, I have no idea how to say this in English. It's very hard to for me to describe. So it's almost like they're like attached to, or they come along with this Seven of Swords. So they're like, wherever this guy goes, these two energies follow, right? It's a little bit like that. So what they are, these energies are a great sense of lack, and also I sense a lot of, the word that comes up is anger. You have bottled up anger inside, coupled with this lack. So it's almost like a very explosive combination, right? It's almost when we it's almost as if only like a very slight touch would trigger this. I think that what makes you angry really is when you are lacking. no matter on what level, it primarily lacking resources, yes. But I think it could be emotional, and I think it could be anywhere you would feel unfulfilled. So it could be even intellectually, right? If you're not stimulated, if you're not engaged, that'll also create a lot of anger, bottled up anger. So it's almost like it's something you carry. It's almost like I'm hearing a detonator. I'm hearing things like that, but it's like like you're a walking bomb. I don't think it's permanently, but it's almost like you kind of carry this like it's possible. It's possible someone triggers you, even if you've worked on yourself, even if you're quite well aware of this sort of twofold energy, right? Knowing exactly what makes you angry and why, right? So even with awareness, you might still get triggered. You know, we see the sense of lack here again on the Nine of Pentacles. In this case, it feels more like you get frustrated and angry with yourself when you are not able to auto-generate money, opportunities, business deals. Business development, so acquiring new clients. I see you having a hard time with prospection, really, because it's interesting that I'm focusing on prospection because I sense it's crucial somehow to your net worth. It's really interesting, almost like you're getting paid by commission or like tips or just growing your business, right? Learning how to do the cold calls, creating loyalty, so making sure your customers come back. You possess this ability. You sometimes are not successful at it because it has its ebbs and flows. It's not easy to prospect, to do prospection, to do business development. I don't think it's something you enjoy as well, which is really interesting. I don't think you enjoy because you always feel like, you're not begging, but I think you have a hard time with that. I think your pride is in the way, but at the same time, it is not easy, right? You get turned down. It takes many, many, many calls to get maybe one opportunity and to actually make money. I'm looking at the Seven of Swords because I told you this person, with them comes almost like this sort of party, right? I have to say, it doesn't have to be your energy, but it could be yours. I think it's this energy is when you go under the radar. Um, I don't even think it's really, especially for Scorpios, going under the radar is so Scorpiona, like so Scorpio-like. Yet, in this case, somehow it's not necessarily serving you. It's affecting new business coming in. It's affecting development, expansion. It's almost like this is a package deal, right? Like when you go silent, you build up in some form of anxiety, but mostly anger, pent up anger, that you bottle up. So you are not, it's not being channeled, right? It's not being vented. Has something the self-inflicted I don't know, I'm seeing this thing where it's you hurting yourself in this sense, right? So a little bit self-inflicted. And it's a loop, because if you go under the radar, you're not generating money. You're gonna feel a sense of lack. It's gonna get you angry. The more you get angry, the more you get into you maybe hide, or you avoid, or you deflect. Whatever it is you do, you're not engaging, and then the loop starts again. On the other hand, you have this cute couple of cards here. I say cute because this energy is very, how can I describe it to you? I have, I'm thinking of, I have the word bouncy. It's bouncy because it keeps you on your toes, which is a really good energy. I think it gets your creative juices going. I think it makes you write lyrics, or maybe you are into novels, writing novels, articles, whatever it is. But it's a creative endeavor. So this energy is very uplifting, stimulating. I think it's really what it is. It's primarily a mental stimulation, but it's also very creative. And it's making you pour yourself out on paper. No matter what language you're writing here, you could be writing in any language, any, music is a language. scenarios, anything. It's irrelevant. You could just even be journaling for that matter. I like the fact that it's making you use all kinds of different skills that you have. I see you use all of your palette of whatever you possess in your toolkit. It feels like a toolkit here because you have all these cups, so they contain something. So it feels like inside each of these cups are either tools, skills, abilities, whatever, experiences that culminates in in this creation here. So it's really, really interesting how you're vibing on two levels. I see this here as whatever you do that's creative. So there's two things here. Either it is the thing that is distracting you from maybe putting in the time to maybe earn some money and so not feel a sense of lack, so then not get, sort of irritated, angry, sort of, frustrated. So it could be distracting you from spending some time to do the prospection and earning the money, developing the business, having to do the hard work. This is hard work in a sense. It's this is the card of the entrepreneur, like the one who would have like their own business and things like that. So if that's the case, it takes a lot of energy to always keep that momentum. So either you need distraction, so you go to your creative juices, to your creative side, because at the moment this is not fulfilling you. It's only aggravating you and creating just a little bit more of this sense of lack and it's not so great, you and so it doesn't make you choose having to work hard versus maybe escape here. But at the same time, maybe this creative endeavor here is also or could possibly eventually earn you money. So it's not wasted time at all. And I don't think ever any creative endeavor is wasted time. I think it feeds us all kinds of ways, right? So it's always important, especially if you are conscious of that, you know that it's a really good balance to strike for yourself. Maybe you're accumulating a body of work. Maybe you are consciously choosing to create more and then eventually be selective on what you will publish, put out there. Or you might even decide not to show it to the world. Maybe this is a very private thing for your eyes only, especially if it's a journal. Those are personal thoughts that you are wanting to put on paper or ideas that you are not ready to share. If you want to see these cards as these three cards as a separate individual, or maybe more than one individual here, that would create maybe not such a great environment for you, because these energies are not easy, right? There's conflict, there's disappointments, or at least not disappointments, but somehow this is a misalignment, and maybe even, you know, like not full transparency, at least. It's possible. Obviously, it's possible. I don't think it's one individual, really. I sense this to be I wouldn't know exactly how many. I mean, there are 5 swords here. There are 7 swords. Usually it's one person, but on the 5 of swords, sometimes there's more than 2 characters. There's 2 characters on the 5 of Pentacles, but I don't necessarily want to count off the imagery, right? That's sort of, it's possible sometimes it works actually, but sometimes it doesn't apply, and I don't sense it applies here. I don't even know if this is a person. It could be a job, because so a job that's not paying you what you feel you are owed, or that you are worth. A job where it's always an uphill battle, either obtaining collaboration or just for things to run smoothly. And here on the 7 of Swords, I keep really coming back to, this is your attitude, right? It's like, because of what's around you, you're sort of putting it back as a, I don't need this, let me walk away. Trying to make sure that, let's say there's some kind of verbal argument, or somehow like sharp words being exchanged, or just not easy communication, maybe due to the lack of collaboration, right? So I think your tactic is always to sort of revert back to sort of separating from the pack, being a loner. It's a little bit sketchy, right? I mean, you just basically dodging, but I feel you have good reasons, so I'm not I have nothing to say about that. I think it's probably I have the words, it's well thought out. It's interesting. I think you're aware of what you're doing. I think you are it's your own way, it's your tactic, it's how you cope somehow. And that's why I don't feel it is to blame. It's not the typical 7 of Swords. There's nothing treacherous about what you're doing. It's like, it's just it's by choice. And I think it works to a certain degree for you. But what doesn't work is maybe your lack of investment here. Just just because you're auto-triggering, you're auto-generating this lack because you're lacking, maybe because money, there's less money maybe coming in, or just less work, and then it triggers the loop of, oh, I'm stressed out, I feel angry inside, or touchy. And then this beautiful side to your personality that's I want to say, because there's another 7 here, I'm going to say something. It's the same kind of tactic. It's just a little different. It's a 7. It's the number 7 tactic. I don't know how to say this. It's attached to the number 7. It's how you do. It's like saying, it's your way of escaping. Again, it's like you just slip away, either in fantasy land, not La La Land, but fantasy land, meaning your imagination, where you create so there is a form of escapism, there's a form of solitude, or being solitary, I should say. There's even the cards are on the side, so taking time out. But you're busy. It's really interesting. You're super busy here. And I love that you're tapping into all these, if they're not your inner, like your strengths and your skills and your gifts and all that, you're also quite apt at, researching whatever you like, or that's in line with what you're doing. Apologies. I'm getting another phone call, but I won't answer that. Sorry. So I see you going out of your way to discover new things and be versatile and be as open-minded as possible, which is really, I love this energy. It's so different, so different. It's like it's almost like saying you have a different mindset, I believe, although you're using the same tactic as I was saying, but you have a different mindset when you're earning money than when you're creating, which is very obvious to say, but maybe it applies a little bit more here. There's something about you not liking being pushed to earn the money. You have this very independent streak, I'm sensing, and I'm saying this because of the 9 of Pentacles, but also a little bit because of the 7 of Swords, right? Wanting to do your own thing. So this sort of independent streak where you particularly hate when people let's say to you, I don't know if you're employed by someone, but for some reason I think you're self-employed, but maybe you are employed. Either way, there's a moment where you are having to earn the money and like sit yourself down for specific tasks, and you don't like it when that's dictated from the outside, right, onto you. I think you much prefer when you know that it's time, or you feel that it's time, then it now you can actually put in the work, or you're wanting to put in the work. It really shifts. It's like having almost two different people, although you're the same person. It's like if you sit down in that attitude that it's coming because it's from outside, the pressure comes from outside, you have to generate the money, or you have to whatever, XYZ, you don't perform the same way than when it comes from you. And I think that's really key here. And I think that's why you have the same attitude. The 7 sort of, the way you operate has this, it has to come from you kind of vibe. And that's why we have the 9 of Pentacles. It's a very, your determination is totally different. Your motivation is totally different. And so your energy changes, and so your work changes. And so maybe you're putting in also a lot of time in your creative endeavors, because maybe you wish to earn your money this way and maybe not this way, right? The prospecting and, maybe if you have a day job versus maybe a hobby, for instance, you know what I mean? Like this one is much more structured, and it's not of your own doing per se, right? It might just be, it's not your vision, it's not your company, right? You're just doing the work for someone else, instead of here, this is your own, whatever you wish to put in, that you've dug out, and that you are wanting to sort of conglomerate. I know it's not really the right word for this, but agglomerate, put together. Maybe you're good at putting different things together, right? Some people are really good at that. It's like things that are quite that you wouldn't think necessarily mesh or fit, or I think you're able to do that. I think you have a knack for that. It's interesting. It makes you very different, original, or at least it makes you stand out, makes your creation stand out. I also think you like to draw. It's interesting. And I don't think many people know that. I don't think it's your primary go-to creatively, but I do think you might enjoy it. Even if it's doodling. That's interesting. It's funny because I did a reading, it's been a while, right? I don't even remember which sign, which series, whatever, but it was something about the color green. There's a lot of green. I mean, it's probably because it's the Pentacles suit, right? So that's obviously the graphics of this deck. But you do have some lighter green here on the 5 of Swords. And there are lots of greens on the cup. I mean, there's quite some green on the cup. A few different shades too. So I remember seeing that comment and thinking afterward, so it's not even relevant what I said about the color green in that reading, but what I thought about afterward, the reading once it was done, had me thinking that it's about money, but like really green dollar bills. So I don't know exactly which currency has green bills, but I remember thinking that, so it's funny that it's coming up again randomly, right? Only because of all this green that I'm seeing, because of the pentacles, and we're talking about earning money. But there's something about that. Like the currency. I don't know why. I don't even know why it's. You might not even have any currency that is green in your country. I just brought it up. Side note, whatever. Let's do the oracle. Let's see. Oh, this one. It really jumped. I'm sorry, this one makes me laugh because it's Anna, grandmother of Jesus. It sounds so, I don't know, solemn, you know. It says, sending the light, laying foundations and divine plan, right? I think maybe you're seeding the light here when you work creatively. But you could also be seeding the light when you prospect, depending on what you're prospecting on, right? But to be honest, any endeavor, anything related to your divine plans and laying your foundations rests in this sphere where your creativity is being solicited. I think you know that. I think you actually are tuning yourself in to divine plans. Or I should say attuning yourself. Not tuning in, attuning yourself. And maybe you're working on a long-term plan. And I'm talking like 10 years, maybe even 15, 20 years, but at least 10. I think there's something extremely, I don't know why I have the number 10. There's nothing that makes me say 10 more than anything. It's more like trying to assess what would be short-term, mid-term, long-term. That's variable for different people and for different endeavors. So of course those numbers could change, but 1-2 years would be fairly short-term for me, 5 years would be mid-term for me, and 10 years would be long-term. But this is the guideline I'm choosing for right now. But like I said, you can put your own timeline on this, but this, I don't think you're looking, let me rephrase that, make it positive. I think you're looking at a longer span of time, because I think that what you have in mind takes time to build. I don't think that you're creating something that is very sort of ephemerical. I don't know how to say this. Ephemer, just like flighty, superficial, short. You know, like it's difficult to express because it could be so many things. So I'll pick an example. Let's say you're thinking about a family, or that within 10 years you'd like to build a family. Let's say it is that. It could be anything related to creative work, right? But I'm choosing a family just because it's easier as an example, especially in terms of laying foundations and using time to serve you, right? I think you have goals related to your family. If, let's say, it's the example of a family, so you're understanding that it's not just about, finding someone and having kids. I think that you have more in mind in terms of what it is that you want to have in place when that happens. So it's different than just saying, oh yeah, sure, I want some kids one day, within 10 years. It's not like that. I think you're I don't know, you're almost like planning it, like thinking completely differently here. So this example is not very creative, although for me creating a family is probably one of the most creative things ever, because you create life. But let's say this is more artistic, or the product of your own, of who you are, right? As a self-expression of who you are. So let's say you are writing a book, writing music, whatever, no matter what it is, a script. I don't know. I'll give you an example. Maybe the book is easier. Maybe you're writing one book now, but it's part of a series. So you already have the bigger, the broader story in mind, and you're only writing the first book. It's just one example. Usually we could see that you might be working with others on this card, but here I don't sense that. It's really interesting. And I think it's also because the Seven of Cups is in reverse. It's sort of a solo energy. It's interesting. And although the Nine of Pentacles is in reverse, it's like the energy of the reading is a solo energy. Which doesn't mean to say that, you are collaborating here. I think that you actually are not necessarily in an easy collaboration. And here it might be collaborative to a degree, but it's more flowy, it's easier here. But there's such an independent streak throughout this whole reading that I don't think that it applies. Oh my gosh, this video is so long. for nothing. Apologies. I didn't mean to make it so long. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm so happy to see this card for you. Look at this. It says, the order denotes honor and recognition of labor. It says near 48, which is another card in the deck, a sure sign of business success. This is really, really auspicious. You know, I like the fact that it's honor and recognition of labor, because I think that you are really hard working on all levels here, no matter in which sphere you're in. It won't go unnoticed, even if it's quite aggravating you quite a bit here, when you're being imposed the work instead of, you know, wanting, like, sitting down to do it at your own pace, at your own time, on your own schedule. Anyway, it's really interesting how far into the future you're looking. I don't think many people do that, really. Some people have what we call a 5-year plan, but I'm telling you, this is, you are not this kind of person. You're how do we say, it's even like more than that, right? It's like 5 years for you is not enough in terms of what you're, I think it has to do with the size of what you want to create. There's something about what you want is so vast that it's I think you're very aware that it won't, it's like saying Rome won't be built in a day, right? It's a little bit like that. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this video. It's just way too long. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate, especially if you've listened to the end. But if you haven't, I totally understand. Thank you for sharing the video. Mostly subscribe and come back. See you soon.